Hello, friends. Welcome to episode Cardano, episode number 8 of Barstool Bitcoin. Say hello to the boys. We got Trader YZ on the line.
What's up, boys?
And
Glad to
then
be here.
we got our boy Krazer, new and
Boys,
newly crowned producer, Krazer.
the Kraser producer in the house, boys. Let's go.
Let's get it.
All right, boys. Let's start it off with a little bit of take a look back at our prediction from last week. I think while you had the over, you're a little bit more optimistic, and we have Dan here on the other side a little bit more pessimistic, saying that it was going to drop. But to both of your boys' chagrin, it actually stayed about the same. So, well, not a bad week, not a great week, but we're hovering around the same, boys. Let's hop right into it. What do you think's going to happen on this end? Wow, let's start with you, my man.
I still think like we're close to the support. It's hugging this price pretty nicely. So I do still see an upward movement from here, unless you catch me just $100 or $200 less around the 6,000. I'll take that L, but I still see us coming back up to 7,000s. It was pretty dark the last couple days, but I think it just jumped up in time for me to get that break even and not take the loss. So I'm glad about that.
There was a little bit of a downer there over the last week, but we built back up to 6,300. So I'm looking at Bitcoin to either move up to around 7K, at which point I would put in a nice short position, or if it does break below 6,200, I'm gonna put in a short position as well. So I'm gonna take the under for next week, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Dan with the under.
Yeah,
well,
we're sitting at 62.93 right now on trading.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the over because I have so much faith in the trend line, and if it breaks down, then you'll hear a lot of unders from me from there on end. But I think over still, and I'm just gonna stick with that, to be honest.
That's not too bad, boys. We'll see if anyone can get one leg up here on the competition.
Yeah, take the W.
That tie from last week. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a big mix of. Sorry about that, boys. There was a big mix of positive news, negative news coming out all in the last week. What coins are you looking at right now, Wow?
There's a bunch that I'm looking at from just the top 5. You can like the top 5. There's Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and XRP, even EOS. These are all great coins that are so low. It depends if you're looking in the Bitcoin, like Satoshi value, or the US dollar value. Like EOS, it's at $5. You know, if that goes down to $4 or $3, that's a fucking good buy. You know, what was the top on that? $24. It's a great coin, great platform, and great team, and they're doing so much. So EOS, XRP as well, like I mentioned. I know you heard me say XRP and Bitcoin Cash. These, to some people, might be like horrible investments, but for trading and technical analysis, like these are getting into low zones that you want to accumulate in, and these are safe coins because they're in the top 5. And then if we go into top 100, there's coins like Steam, Nano, PivX, which are all coming down so low, and they're just looking like sexy entries. So I'm kind of just watching right now, and I'm kind of making, like I said last week, this VIP list, and I've just added to it. So there's a ton of coins that are showing great opportunities, but I wouldn't pull the trigger now. If you're going to get into the market, just jump into Bitcoin because the dominance is around 54%, and it's only going to grow from here. If Bitcoin decreases or increases, people are going to take out of their alts to get into Bitcoin and kind of safeguard their money. So I think Bitcoin's the best investment if we're talking about getting into the crypto market, and then just kind of hold until we see like a bottom, which is hard to call. I'm not going to be the person trying to call that or trying to catch a knife, but you know, so many opportunities.
Yeah, you posted
so many coins.
Your watch list in the trading group, and that was pretty well received. It was good mix of both top 10 and top 100. I don't know if any of those were over top 100 market cap.
No, most just top 100. I kind of just tried to keep it in there, and I put like a risk factor to them. So like the top 5, top 10 coins, I'm gonna say they're the safest, obviously. But when we get into hundreds, then it's more risky because, you know, let's talk about PivX. PivX is one of the original anonymous coins, and when people think anonymous, like they're thinking either like Dash, PivX, Monero. So, this coin is so cheap right now. It's about 10x from its all-time high, maybe about 12x. It's like this coin is going to come up with the market. It's a little bit less safe than XRP, obviously, because it's a top 5 coin. It's number 4th. But PIVX has a huge, rep. They have masternodes. They have a great team, and they have that they've been in the industry. They're not like a scam coin. They're well established. So like PIVX is going to go back up. But it's just a little bit riskier because I think it's like 80th on the rank.
Yeah.
But that list will be updated frequently, and I'm just going to keep throwing stuff on there, like Electra as well. I think it like fell back to top 1,000 coin, but the gains on that are crazy. So just how much you're willing to risk, or what you're willing to risk, I guess.
Yeah, there is one positive, boys, from Bitcoin falling here. We just been hearing crickets from the crypto bros. I mean, let me define that real quick. Crypto bro is basically an intolerable person. I would visualize them wearing, tight-fitting clothes, and they like to brag about, all their crypto success, and maybe they made a couple shekels off an investment back in the day. But right now, they are silent. These bros just came mainstream, and now they disappeared. It reached a point at one point where it was like so intolerable to me to hear these people like brag and post Lambo screenshots and like, whatever stuff they're fantasizing about that they still don't have, and now they just got absolutely wrecked, and they're just sitting probably crying in a dark room by themselves.
Unfortunate. Well, you talk that much shit, you're gonna end up losing it. Eat it yourself, which is worse.
Goes around, comes around, eh? That's what happens, boys.
The good thing though is there were some like some of the notorious Bitcoin bears have been coming out and giving their opinion, and one of them, Paul Krugman, he's like a notorious Bitcoin bear, and he was at this panel, and it was basically a panel of an audience full of like Bitcoin skeptics, and there was also some supporters like the Ripple chief strategist of marketing was there, and a couple other people. And Krugman came out and he actually said, like, he expressed some of his bearish sentiment, but he said that Bitcoin has more utility than gold, which is like pretty cool considering he's one of the loudest cryptocurrency skeptics. And he comes out and many of his statements were kind of promising.
No, that's good news. That's good to hear from him. He's probably low-key in Bitcoin right now.
Yeah, most likely.
A lot of these guys are, and like them saying negative things in the news is only getting them more Bitcoins and cheaper Bitcoins. So it's like, it's kind of like being in the closet. You kind of just, you're just hoping, whatever. I can't really explain it, to be honest.
Are you gonna make a gauge up?
It's okay. Yeah,
I'll refrain from.
Can't back out now. Well, can't back out now.
No, but Krugman went on and he said like gold is dead. He said that Bitcoin has more utility than gold, and he said that for once, he said that there's a chance for Bitcoin to be more valuable than gold in 10 years, like in the future. So it's pretty cool. I mean, that's positive.
That's a big statement.
Yeah, definitely.
That's huge.
How much is the market cap for gold, or
Well, gold is just falling. Type of numbers? Gold and silver are just falling right now, and a lot of people are just holding their bullion, myself included, and I can't even sell that shit. Like, it's just sitting in a safe,
Yeah, I think it's worth around $7 trillion. That's what I'm looking. Maybe one gold market, because I know there's a bunch of different markets for it. But it's a true statement what he said. Like, with gold, you can't break it in pieces. Nobody is like exchanging it, and like you're not using it to buy stuff. With Bitcoin, you could break it in 100 million pieces. You can send it. You can, it's not super heavy if you had a bunch of gold and you're trying to, drive it down the street. And it's also super risky. What if you get jacked up for all that gold? You're that one person holding all this gold and stuff.
Yeah, wouldn't you rather just carry like a ledger or a Trezor?
Yeah, or just like right on your phone, nobody would even know, and it's so low key, That's the great thing about Bitcoin. It's way better than cash,
Yeah.
and I wish we do go into losing the cash and the coins and whatnot. Not only is everybody saving money from manufacturing that from like our governments, but it's just so easier, and it's just using the blockchain. It's like there's no corruption, and I think that's like one of the reasons why they're taking so long, because these governments, they're just filling their pockets and they're the most corrupt. So putting blockchain would kind of take some money out of their pockets, and the
Yeah.
schemes that they're running, they can't do that anymore. So it's like they're probably just drawing out excuses and taking as much time as possible to like not incorporate blockchain.
Yeah, it's funny
Speaking
you
of,
mentioned that.
I was gonna say, speaking about governments and scamming, what do you boys think? Any scam coins on the market that our listeners should be aware of? Maybe not put your money in that. Be a little bit aware.
I have one ICO right now. Should I start with mine?
Yeah, go for it. Well, let's hear it.
It's WCX. It's an exchange and it's an ICO. So right now, they've been out for about 8 months and they're still on their ICO. So they've raised apparently $16 million. I'm gonna go over some of the red flags that I see in the white paper. They claim to have about 800,000 signups in 177 different countries. So somebody went and compared their traffic, because with that many signups, you need these people to come to the website, obviously, right? So he compared the suspicious traffic coming to this ICO, and then he compared it with 5 pretty big ICOs. And then in the normal ICOs, you had the main traffic coming from US, UK, China, and Germany. And those ICOs that were legit, those were the top 4 countries that showed. I think China and Germany, number 3 and 4, were switched out, but those were the main countries getting the traffics for these legit ICOs. Then with the suspicious ICO, you have 80% of the traffic coming from Russia, then Ukraine, Vietnam, and Brazil. So these are just like super small things. Taking a look at it, like I said, they've been selling funds for 8 months. I find when ICOs keep pushing to take more money in, they're just trying to, keep the time, they're trying to go as long as possible and just scrape as much money as they can. So they're an exchange and they're offering exchange tokens. So these tokens would be worth, let's say, right now they're 19 cents. And the way they're doing it is in tiers. So every tier it goes up 20 cents. So it says buy now before the price increases to 20 cents a token. So these types of things are scams. Like they're just showing investors basically their future ROI without, they're promising the ROI and they're just taking money in. So you bought at 19 cents, the next guy will buy at 20 cents, the next guy will buy at 25 cents. And the great thing about this is like it shows that, they try to draw you in any way. They make it so good looking. So
It's
if
really
you put
unethical marketing.
really unethical marketing, if
Yeah.
you put in P2 of a Bitcoin, you get 5% bonus. If you up that to 1.4 Bitcoins, you get 8%. At 2.8 Bitcoins, you get 12%. If you invest 7 Bitcoins, you're at 24%. If you invest 15 Bitcoins, you're at 45% extra. And let's go to the final package. That's 1,000,000 coins, and you get 500,000 coins on top. And that's only at 28
So you get a
Bitcoins.
50% bonus.
50% bonus, but if you click to buy 500,000 tokens, it's worth 15 Bitcoins. So the guy buying 1,000,000 tokens just thinks like he's getting a free 15 Bitcoins. You know what I mean? So it's just like you think,
7.5 Bitcoins. Half of that, right? Because they're getting a 50% bonus.
yeah, you're getting 50% bonus. Oh, as well as that. Yeah. So, but still like 8 Bitcoins for free just on this made up bonus. That's what draws people in. Their greed. You know what I mean?
sure.
Also, another thing which is a huge red flag is not showing the team. And if there's no team, you can't check if these guys are legit.
Yeah, that's brutal.
And then, yeah, you don't know if they're legit. You don't know where they're from. And then they went on to release 2 profiles for the team. And these profiles claim that they went to Minds Paris Tech. So if you're looking at a team or a team members and you don't think that they have the qualifications, for sure message them just to see if they're actually on the team or aware that they're on their website, and then message whatever company or school they're just trying to represent. So I think somebody did email the school, and they asked if both of these guys have graduated from Minds Pairs Tech, and they said no such people were ever attended to the school. And he said one graduated with financial mathematics, which they don't even offer that program there. So after releasing that email to the public, they took down the two LinkedIn profiles for the team members. And on top of that, they claim to be on ethereumscan.com, which they're not. So,
That's just enough said, bro. I'm going to give that one because that is
Get the fuck
a huge scam. And if
I know, but they're taking in a lot of money. Like people. Oh, and forgot to say this. They have their exchange in beta right now. So they're allowing people to deposit and trade funds, which I just think, like, as soon as they collect as much funds as they want, they're going to take people's deposits into their exchange as well, because they're running an exchange right now, which is pretty shitty. I just went through it quickly. It's like a demo. They only have a few coins and they're using TradingView's API. So very basic stuff. So I think that after they raise 25 million, they're going to take that in addition to everything that everybody has deposited in their exchange. So I don't know. It looks pretty scammy to me, but there is volume. There's about 1,000 Bitcoins every 24 hours, unless they can manufacture or they can fake that number. There are people trading on here, and unfortunately, there are people who are going to lose their money. It's shitty.
It's a shitty thing, but there's shitty people everywhere.
Yeah.
A bunch of shit, So it's good that we inform our listeners. Maybe we can save them a little bit of money,
Yeah.
So,
Kraz, you've been researching a lot lately. We were talking before the show, and did you find anything that raised your spidey senses?
Well, I took a look on one of the sites. I found pretty much the top 5, or had the top 10 ICO scams of 2018 so far. So I just had the list of that. There was B2G Bitcoin, which is a scam of about $75 million was raised.
Wow.
And then I have another one. So I don't have too much details on all of them. I just have a little bit of a list. Paragon with a scam of about $70 million that was raised.
I've heard of that.
Prodium, which is about $6.5 million. Plexicoin, another $15 million raise.
Yeah,
Seal,
Plex
$2 million.
I remember.
Yeah, Plexcoin looked super enticing to investors, just offering ROIs, just offering bullshit.
Yeah, they got indicted, actually.
Yeah,
yeah,
and then one of even the biggest one too, I did a little bit of reading on. OneCoin was scammed close to $300 million US dollars internationally.
Yeah.
So kind of just giving our listeners a little bit about the names to watch out for. Kind of if you hear those names, boys and girls, stay the fuck away.
Yeah. Well, boys, I don't have a scam coin, but I just wanted to bring to the table today a little horror story, because this stuff is just this shit happens right now, especially because the technology is kind of clunky and it's hard for the normal person to use. But there's been so many crazy stories of people losing just shit tons of Bitcoins. And at the end of the day, that's going to only kind of drive the price of Bitcoin, because that's lost Bitcoins that'll never be recovered. But there was this dude who he's an IT worker. His name's James. It's pretty well known, this story. He lost 7,500 Bitcoins, and what he did was he accidentally threw out this old hard disk which contained his private keys, and that was in 2013 when that happened. And then if you look at the value now, that's 55 million, dude. That's and
that's a lot of money
sitting in his hard drive, lying under thousands of tons of landfill, basically, of garbage, just somewhere in America, you know what I mean? And you can't help but like feel sorry for this dude because he obviously believed in the potential of Bitcoin and the technology, but man, I can only like I just hope he bought some more after that,
Wow.
you
I
know.
could only feel for him. How do you get over that? You know what I mean? Like, I think I
Yeah.
read that, and I think he went to that dump and actually looked as well
I
after
think I would
years.
look as well too. For that amount of money, I would bring my shovel and I would get out there
Yeah,
until I find that fucking hard drive.
7,500 bitcoins. That's a large amount. I'm gonna share this story because that guy lost it. I was just checking up on scam coins, and I found this guy who got scammed 5,600 bitcoins. He invested in this ICO called Dragon Coin, um, which, if you're in crypto, you kind of, I know this Dragon Chain project that went really well. So right there, like another company trying to copy names, kind of wouldn't fly with me, especially if I'm investing 5,600 bitcoins. So it was supposed to be a casino, and this was in Thailand. The guy invested 5,600 bitcoins. He was 22 years old. Not sure how he got them, but filthy rich. You know what I mean? Bitcoin rich. And then they ended up scamming him and selling the Bitcoin and buying properties. So they didn't I guess hold on to it. They didn't wash it or whatnot. I'm not sure how that goes, but what they did was they just sold it and sent it to their bank accounts and started buying properties and lands. So the Thailand government actually seized over 51 bank accounts, a couple million of the dollars, and the property purchased. So I think, unlike a lot of cases, this gentleman is going to get back everything seized. I
Consider
don't know
himself
how
lucky on that one.
exactly, because I think it was dumb for them to maybe send it to their own bank accounts. I'm not sure what they were thinking on that one. And obviously they're going to jail for a long time. I wouldn't want to be sitting in a Thailand jail. And there's a lot of fraud that happens there. I went just previously, maybe a couple months ago, and they warn you with locals and investing and things like that. Don't trust, I'm not saying all of Thailand, but just don't trust some shady casino ICO ideas in a foreign country when you travel. It'll save yourself 5,600 bitcoins next time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Pantera Capital is making moves. They're actually they're coming out and really pushing against the banks right now. The CEO came out and he was like, if Bitcoin's rat poison, the banks are the rats. So he's kind of pushing back at all
That's a
these
good one.
corrupt bankers and his fund Pantera Capital. They just did a raise. They raised 70 million for crypto venture funds. So they're looking to raise another 175 million more, and they already raised 70 million from only 90 investors. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's pretty good. I mean, that's positive news coming out, at least for Bitcoin. And we had also the ETFs have been denied, the ones that were put in front of the regulatory body. But just recently, there was something for the U.S. investors. It's not an ETF. It's for U.S. investors, but it's this thing called Bitcoin Tracker One. It's an ETN, like an exchange traded note. So
It's an alternative to ETF, I
right,
believe.
and they got listed on the Nasdaq in Sweden, Stockholm, the Nasdaq
Nice.
Stockholm. So now it can be traded. They've been listed on the Nasdaq in Stockholm since 2015, but now it could be traded in U.S. brokerage accounts. So
Nice.
everyone
Big
that's
moves. Big
yeah, that's
moves.
huge. Everyone that's investing in dollars can now get exposed to these type of financial products, whereas before they're only available to select people.
Yeah, a bunch of these ETFs and ETNs will be approved one by one. There's a few in September as well that got postponed and will be in front of the SEC. So, I think just one by one, it's really helping the market grow because it unlocks a lot of money, believe it or not. It unlocks billions of dollars just allowing people to buy, especially these ETNs and ETFs, because they're insured. So people aren't afraid of losing their money to the unknown or to like the scammers we were just talking about, because these scammers are ruthless. They'll take every fucking dollar you have. But when you're dealing with huge companies like this, you're kind of not worried at all about losing the money unless you just fuck up the trade. But in terms of somebody stealing it from your account, that's not going to happen. And if it does, you're insured. So
yeah, the regulators are getting way more exposure to all these scams, and they're getting better at sifting them out. There was just like this huge fine that happened on, I'd never heard of this coin before. It was called Tomahawk coin, and they did an ICO. They issued their coins. They did basically a fraudulent ICO, and the dude's name's David Lawrence. He ran like his token sale or whatever, but he already been convicted for securities fraud. He already had a record for securities fraud. And I think if you're an investor, like one of the simplest way to sift out any scam is just to see if anybody involved. First off, if you can't find the team, that's a huge warning sign. If you could find the team and somebody has been, just do a Google search for them, and if they've been convicted of fraud, like, you know what you're gonna get. You know what I mean?
Fuck that.
Yeah, it's not something you would want to dip your toe into that one. Fuck. So
Yeah.
come on, boys.
Yeah, so the SEC found that the defendants use basically unethical marketing, unethical promotional material that inflated the projections of oil production that was going to be the coin's value was based off of. So that's a pretty big scam, but the dude got he only got a 30K fine, which I think is pretty ridiculous. But I mean, at the same time, at least they're like sifting out these people, and they got everyone got their Bitcoin or their Ether reissued from.
Wow.
Yeah,
which is rare too. That's lucky as fuck. Well, if you want to make a difference, I'm not recommending it, but cryptopolice.com, their ICO launches in 10 or 11 days, and it's a force. It's a first community decentralized police on blockchain. You get rewarded for ratting out, I wouldn't say ratting because these guys are fucking thieves. So if you get rewards for just pointing out fraudulent ICOs, phishing scams, fake projects, and more. So, if you want to save some people and save some people's money, I wouldn't recommend just buying the coin because of that reason, but you can make some free coins. I don't know how much they'll be worth, but it's something to take in.
Yeah. I mean, it's growing. It's still growing, even though we're in a bear market. If you look at it, like the long-term trend for Bitcoin is way up. Like there's going to be a lot of these short-term swings, but the long-term trend is definitely up. Coinbase, I saw the CEO said they're signing up 50,000 users per day.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It was like hundreds of thousands. I think at one point they were the number one downloaded app as well. But then that's like when the whole media attention, Bitcoin's going to 100K time frame that we were in. But 50,000 users a day is fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot. There was
$1 billion revenue. Yeah.
There was a scam too in the UK. It cost investors lost 2 million pounds, but the national police revealed like these figures that there was like 203 reportings of crypto fraud, which was like around $2.5 million in losses, 2 million pounds in losses.
The biggest one I was involved in, when I say involved is I got scammed, was probably the rail block, which after the incident they changed their name, even though it wasn't their fault. What do you guys think about that? You have your coin on an exchange, it gets hacked, the exchange gets hacked, not your coin, and $300 million worth of your coin gets hacked. Would you change the name or would you stick with it? Does it make you look kind of guilty? Because they're claiming
really
no responsibility.
Behind the scenes, what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah. Like most of these scammers, they're just targeting people off like social media. Like some are doing, cold calling. Like you
These
said
guys are
in a
hungry
previous
anyway.
episode, there's, Nigerians creating bot accounts, like
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
those send me one ether, I'll send you five back. So a lot of these people are being persuaded into opening like trading accounts, and then there's like phishing scams where they basically steal your details. You think you're doing proper KYC for an exchange, but really they're just about to completely rip off all your shit. So you got to be careful out there. Make sure you do your due diligence on every investment that you make is very important. You don't want to be the
Hmm.
one at the end standing holding your shirt, with like all your money gone.
No, I totally agree. And the KYC thing you just said, like, I would never upload my passport or my driver's license, my whole fucking
No,
identity.
no.
But like, that's what these guys are asking for. I think it's sometimes it's too much. So that's why I really pick the exchanges I work with, like, Bittrex, for example, Binance, for example, because like, I'm not trying to upload my passport and, my driver's license and proof of, um, where I live to every exchange I want to sign up, or if there's a shit coin, I don't, the only way to get it deposit and withdraw is to upload your KYC. So that's why I like to just work with one exchange, maybe two, and then
Yeah, you got to be careful. But there's a big case going on right now where a Bitcoin investor, this guy Michael Turpin, he co-founded an angel investment group. It's called Bid Angels, and he's suing AT&T right now for 224 million because
wow.
he alleges he lost millions of dollars worth of crypto that is the cell phone service provider's fault. He's saying that um, he lost 24 million, and the service provider AT&T allowed a hacker to gain access to his cell phone account without requiring him to show like valid ID or providing like a PIN code for his account or anything like that. So we'll see what's actually going to happen because he lost the 24 million, but in addition to that, he's looking for another 200 million in punitive damages from AT&T. So they're the biggest telecommunications provider in the world, and I the second largest mobile services provider. So we'll see what happens. If that's the case, I mean, then I think
Yeah, that's unfortunate. It sounds like an inside job. Whichever employee did that is definitely getting fired.
Now, when you say he hacked in his phone through AT&T and he wants to sue them, what kind of hacking do you mean? You're talking about like a pin or whatever?
well,
Like
I'm
they went in,
assuming
like
that they
he
called
changed.
in, somebody called in, like one of the hacker's friends or the hacker
Yeah, yeah.
himself called
Yeah.
in and alleged that they were him, you know?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think this is more it because I read a couple things like this that were similar. So it's like you need a password, or when you log into a website, it texts you a verification number, maybe 7, 8, 8, 9, 10, how
Right.
many ever digits,
Yeah.
and then
It's
you
like a
need that to
two-factor
log in.
authenticator, right?
Yeah,
Like an
Yeah.
exactly,
SMS.
exactly. So like people are claiming to lose their SIM cards or phone numbers and then just pop it up in a new
Yeah.
phone, and then they'll get that. Basically, even to withdraw on websites, I have my phone number. You need to get a text from my phone number to withdraw.
That's
So like
true.
they must have known. That's why I think it's more of an inside job, because they must
And
have known the account, and he's at AT&T, you know.
And you
Yeah.
know what, boys? Like having worked in the telecom industry previously, I have seen a bunch of this too. So it's quite possible that something like this does happen, and it's probably a lot easier than you think too. So if anyone like on a personal level, any of our listeners, if you ever had any things with your cell phones accounts or something like that, make sure you contact your provider right away to sort your stuff out because you don't want to end up in a situation like that.
Yeah, and if I mean you're listening to this show, if you're a crypto investor and you're thinking to yourself, "Wow, this could maybe happen to me," consider securing your long-term portfolio in cold storage and offline wallets. That completely prevents hackers from obtaining access to your keys. So you definitely want to get yourself a ledger or a Trezor and hold your crypto, your long-term holds in offline storage, an offline wallet.
Yeah, I
Yeah, and that
agree. Having it,
100% eliminates exactly what you just said. So you keep it secure, it's on you, and only you have it. So it's a great way to set yourself up for success and not for failure.
totally agree with
Definitely.
that.
Well, boys, let's wrap things up unless you guys have anything else to say. I think we're all set here.
No,
Sounds
just
good.
about it. Like I fucking got scammed a couple times in the crypto market. You know what I mean? And I try to think that I'm more like I know these are scams, and they get the best of us. So, I don't think it'll be the last time I get scammed either. Not like I want to get fucking scammed, but it's super important just to keep your eyes open and like you work hard for this money, guys. So just make sure to do the research. I know you just want to throw it in and get rich, but just do the research and you'll thank yourself. Thank
Yep.
yourself later. That's about it.
Good point, Well.
Well, thank you guys for listening to the pod, and we want to say thanks to our sponsor as well. This episode was brought to you again by BitMEX. I'm not going to do the whole ad read here, but BitMEX is the best way to margin trade to long and short. Doesn't matter which country you're from, pretty much, and you can use 100 times leverage. And the coolest thing is there's no expiry dates, so be patient with your trades, and you will end up on the winning side. So sign up is really quick. Hop in the show notes section here or on our website, barstoolbitcoin.io, and get started trading in minutes. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode of Barstool Bitcoin next week. Have yourselves a good week, boys.